morning. Happy Sunday. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rev Sarah, and it's my pleasure to be our host this morning. Rev Kevin is away for the weekend, enjoying some time with his husband, so it's my joy to be here. So I welcome you to our 8:30 gathering. It's a more quiet, meditative, contemplative gathering. So I invite you into that energy of just some quiet and peace. Let the awareness of the infinite expand in your being. Include all that is, releasing all that isn't. And as we're welcoming everyone, I want to take a moment to also welcome those online who are joining us for this more quiet, contemplative service. So let's just know that we're breathing in together wherever we are, whenever we are. We're breathing in and noticing our in-breath. And we're breathing out and noticing our out-breath. That's all it has to be. So welcome to Universal Spirit Center.
As we take this breath, I'm going to ask you to join me. And how could anyone ever tell you? How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone ever tell you that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone ever tell you that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
And so in this moment, right here in this sacred space, I recognize that God is. I recognize that each one of us gathered here this morning is in this divine presence. And I recognize that each one of you joining us and in this space are connected to that big divine soul from which we all come from. And so I bless this time, I bless this space where we are gathered, knowing that it unfolds perfectly in each moment. And I'm grateful for this. And I let it be.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than my soul.
Our reading this morning is from our founder, Ernest Holmes, of Science of Mind and Spirit. The life within you is God. Whatever is true of God is true of your life, since your life and the life of God are not two, but one. This life within you, being God, did not begin and cannot end. Hence, you are immortal and eternal. The God that is within you is truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness.
As we breathe and come out of meditation, let your heart be open. Join me in the breath of God. Each breath I take brings me into the heart of God. Each breath I take brings me into the heart of God. Each breath I take brings me into the heart of God. Each breath I take, I am here in the heart of God. The heart of God. I am the heart of God. I am the heart of God. The heart of God. The heart of God. I am the heart of God. I am the heart of God. I am the heart of God. The heart of God. The heart of God. Each breath you take brings you into the heart of God. Each breath you take brings you into the heart of God. Each breath you take brings you into the heart of God. Each breath we take, we are here in the heart of God. The heart of God, you are the heart of God. You are the heart of God. The heart of God. The heart of God. You are the heart of God. You are the heart of God. You are the heart of God. The heart of God. The heart of God. Each breath we take brings us into the heart of God. Each breath we take brings us into the heart of God. Each breath we take brings us into the heart of God. Each breath we take, we are here in the heart of God. The heart of God. We are the heart of God. We are the heart of God. The heart of God. The heart of God. We are the heart of God. We are the heart of God. We are the heart of God. The heart of God. The heart of God. Oh, good job. Good job. A lot of breath in there.
Thank you, Gino. Beautiful. So it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. She is a woman who has been with our center since the beginning, 20 plus years ago, Margot. And Margot, she joined us, from the very beginning. She's been a practitioner with us. She has led Angels, first Saturday and third Saturday with Angels for many years. She's also been part of the San Diego Women's Drum Circle for the integral part of that experience, right? So she's been just an amazing part of the experience of spiritual transformation here in San Diego. And she is also an ordained spiritualist minister. She was ordained in 1995. So we get to have an experience with Margot this morning, and we get to experience spiritualism and how it's one of the many branches on the New Thought Wisdom tree. So it came up from some of the same teachers and same beginnings that religious science and science of mind did. So. And before I welcome Margot to the stage, I want to make a special acknowledgement that this, indeed, today is her appearance day on the planet. So this day, many years ago, Margot made her appearance in our earthly realm. So aren't we blessed to have that? So the flowers today are in honor of Margot. So. It is my joy. She's a dear friend, so I'm so glad to welcome Margot to the front and center. Do you want to stay up here? Or?
No. She suggested I say hello, and then that goes down there, and everything is smooth. Okay. Hand that to Sarah. This is a handoff.
All right, handoff.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yay. All right, well, welcome, Margot Alora.
Good morning. Oh, we still have lights. I'm gonna be. Is there a way not to be in the spotlight? There. Yeah, there. I just want to see you and be with you because you gave me the privilege of getting this mic. And I want you to know how privileged I feel because the religions of religious science and spiritualism are so close, and not everybody has known that. And I'm going to share with you my experiences. So if you want to look up some of these other things, Google will tell you something. But this is from my life. So I came to San Diego in 1984 and immediately began taking classes with Kathy Hearn, who was the Reverend for Pacific Church of Religious Science. And I was taking classes at the Spiritualist Church, Fraternal Spiritualist Church. So I dove right in because it was time for me to add spirituality. Now, in 84, we were just sort of separating religion and spirituality. And so that, it was a good time to get into all this. So the first, I want to talk a little bit about religious science because as I was drawn to it, I noticed a lot of similarities because they both are New Thought. But as I was studying religious science, I found out that Ernest Holmes wrote an original text, and it's thinner than the one we study now. And in chapter 6, it's a whole chapter devoted to spiritual mediumship. He talks about clairvoyance, clairaudience, how you can see those on the other side. You can feel them, you can touch them, you can hear them. And at the end of the chapter, he says, I have experienced all these modalities. Now, to me, that makes spiritualism, like the DNA, too, with all that religious science has added. So we go back to, I think it was 48, when things were being decided that, yes, this wonderful philosophy can be a religion. Now, that right there is a big decision, isn't it? So as they were coming up with a new text, they omitted chapter 6. Now, I could only guess, because I don't know anybody that was there, and I've read, this is the decision we made. I can only guess that what they were feeling was the revolution of saying to people that came in the doors, God is not the man on the cloud. And that's a revolution, if you can just feel what it was like in the 40s and the 50s. So, religious science brought God right here. Now that's a revolution. God's not out here anymore for us. So here we have God here. And then, another very big biggie, religious science says God is all there is. Essentially kicking the devil to the curb. You know? Yeah. And not paying attention to sin. Not paying attention to that S-I-N. Oh, my goodness. All that, as I was writing this talk and thinking, I thought that was a big, big revolution. And I believe that the writers of the new book thought that if they included this spiritualism, that might color too much. And that might get, attention. And who knows what people were thinking, but this is my thought. They were thinking, we want to bring the revolution of God is here. God is all there is. That is what, and that God is God. That religious science is a way of living. It's a way of living. And in the 40s and the 50s, because that's when I was little bitty, but that religion, what I always thought of, you went to church on Sunday, and then you put it away till the next Sunday. It wasn't a way of living. And religious science, that's what it's about, how you live. Change your thinking, change your life. So that's the religious science part. So then also I was attending the spiritualist church very regularly. Actually on Sundays I would get to PCRS at the first service and run across the valley and then go to the spiritualist church, I think about 11. So I was in it, right? And I was feeling, you might say guided, certainly feeling loved. My mother had just made her transition. So I went to a Wednesday night spiritualist group, and as is the way they do it, a medium stands up there and looks at somebody and says, I have a message for you, and I want to give you an R like Rose. And then you say, oh my goodness, my mother's name was Rose. So it's pretty common for mediums to be able to give some very significant thing, primarily names. So I walk in, sit down, and I think, now this is how the mind limits the world. So I think, well, God, nobody can do that for me. Now there's a limitation. So I said, my mother's name was so odd, no medium's ever going to get it. But I didn't do it consciously. I didn't say, dear God, but I was thinking that and putting that limitation out. So then I was in a new class for spiritualism on Tuesday nights, and I was with another student. I wasn't even with the teacher. And the student said, I think your mother's vibration is here, right here. Now, I was very, very new to all that, so I went, okay, I almost went, prove it, but, I went, okay. So then she said, was your mother ever plump? And honestly, my mother was skinny all her life. So I said no to the lady. She persevered. She said, well, I'm looking at my arm, and it's a little plump, and I'm pointing to a dimple right there. My mother's name is Dimple. And I even get goosebumps to this day. It's 30-some-odd years later. I marvel at what can be brought forth from the other side? What love, powered that through? What desire to show me that I was limiting myself? What desire came from the divine saying, you're always loved. And those that love you, that cord is forever. So, and what I talk about now is having God stories or angel stories in your pocket. And that angel story of knowing that my mother could bring through her name will be with me forever. When I got the cancer diagnosis, I put my hand in the pocket and went, all right, I'm not alone. I know God's with me. I know life is everlasting, and had that experience. So that's a God story or an angel story I wanted to share with you. So here, this next one is about how religious science and spiritualism worked hand in hand for me to have a life-changing experience. So I was in, they called it Science of Mind 1, that's what we call Foundations, with Kathy Hearn, and she wanted to introduce us to the idea of core belief. And a core belief is something that you believe. You probably picked it up pretty early, age 3, 4, or 5, something like that. And you may not even know it. It's just yours, and that's the way it is. So, and it's often a little deep. So Kathy Hearn gave us some silly putty. And she said, well, make a symbol of your core belief. So people were making roses, and somebody made a car. I made a gun. And, I looked down and went, I did not know what it was about, but I trusted. So I went home and I prayed, what is it I don't know that I don't know? God, please show me. What is it I don't know that I don't know? What core belief am I attached to? And at that moment, my spiritualist training was kicking in. And I felt the energy of Uncle Mac. Now, Uncle Mac was a fella in my family tree, and I knew him all my life. And he was a scoundrel. He wasn't somebody you wanted to sit next to. He was a thief and lots of other stuff. So at first I went, no thank you, never mind, I don't want this. But I trusted. I trusted God, and I trusted that this was an experience that would help me. So Uncle Mac said, I am here to assist in your awareness of a core belief. And then I had the memory of, I was about 3 or 4, and I was the flower girl in his wedding. The next memory, I was in the apartment with Bonnie, his wife, and my mother, and we were cleaning the blood off the wall because he'd gotten drunk and he'd beat her up. So it's like, whoa. But, this is coming from loving channels. This is coming from my request. What is my core belief? So a week went by, and I can tell you I was going to church twice a day, and then I had 2 classes in spiritualism and 1 class in science of mind. So I was immersed in nurturing of the divine. And so I was praying and like, okay, what is this about? And what I was told is, at that early age with that experience, that was like a beginning of reacting to what was going on in my family. There was 2 murders and there was a suicide in my family. And the way I experienced it was, it was just part of me and part of my life. But did you hear me say it was a part of me? It was almost like I had another arm. Now, what I was told by the angels was that was an experience, Margot. Whether you were 3 or all those other violent acts, those are experiences. Those are not you. And the invisible arm melted. and I am a spiritual being having a human experience, remembering that my experiences are out here. Nothing can touch the spiritual being that you and I are. So that's the story of the core belief and how spiritualism and religious science touched me so deeply that now I understand. I get it. Experiences are here, and I am here. So what I wanted to further share with you is that at the end of my class with Kathy Hearn, we had projects. And people wrote poems and they sang songs, and I'm going, oh, what can I do? And Kathy Hearn in 1984 okayed that I gave messages in that class. And I remember it was my first time I gave 8 messages in a row. Woohoo! That was a big deal in those days. And I even gave one to Kathy Hearn. I actually remember a tiny part of it. I told her that sometimes as she reached for a book, it felt like the book was coming towards her. Isn't that interesting, all those years? So I really can't separate in me. Like this side is religious science and this side is spiritualism. I really can't do that because I found them coming together over and over. And now, you know, teaching angels for so many years here, I realize that this is what I came to do. This is part. Now, I used to say that I came here to be a bridge from this side to the other side. And now, especially with some experiences in Mongolia where I felt the allness of the world, now I would say that I'm here as a spiritualist to embrace the wholeness and let people know the wholeness doesn't stop once you go to the other side of the veil. So I don't see us as a bridge so much, but as an acceptance of the wholeness that we truly are. I saw a shaman in Mongolia, and they put on garb, and it was really, really a privilege to be there. And they have used smoke, you know, that works for the facilitation of their ceremony. And for just a few moments, I thought, you know what? God is all there is, and whether you're in a pope's, you know, garb, or you're here, and this garb happened to have fake snakes, you know, that God is all there is, and we are one. And I got that at a deeper level, you might say, down to my toes, from that experience of seeing that there's many ways to be with the divine. And they're all good. They're all good as long as we are aware that we are all good and that God is all there is. So I want to share another, we call them, in spiritualism, we call them God stories or angel stories. So, and it brings together these are two religions. So I was at a stop sign, I was driving my van, and it was a shifty, you know, on the floor, 4 on the floor. And it was red, so I'm sitting there, and then it turns green. And because it's a van and shifting, you know, I just sort of start to put it in first, start to roll out. This other fella came through, I want to say 100 miles an hour, I don't know. But it felt like he ran the light, right? And by then I'd already rolled a little bit out, so I jammed my brakes and I stalled my car, my van. So by then I was shaking. And then, so I restarted my van, I pulled over to the side, and I sent this man love and protection from him and for him so that nothing would happen. And then I prayed. And the angels were there right away, of course. And they said, rejoice, and we are rejoicing that there was no accident. And I felt so blessed. And they said, we want to show you something else. And this is where religious science came in. Said, you didn't cuss them out. Now, I was raised in a Navy family for a few years, and there was no cuss word I didn't know by the time I was 5. I could say everything about your mother and everything. That was the vocabulary I came with, and that was the training I had. If negative happened to you, man, you threw it back. You blah, 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 blah. And I didn't do that. And that's what religious science is about. Change your thinking, change your life. And I got to tell you, the angels were up there dancing for me. Margot didn't cuss them out. Margot was moved a tiny bit in her own spiritual development. So that is a story that I like to share because it shows how spiritualism and religious science work in our lives. And it shows angels are there for us. And they're also there for us to say, you made a little progress. Yay, we're celebrating. We don't want to hear those words anymore. So that's the story of that. And there's one more story I'd like to share. I was in a cancer support group with my friend Vera, and she was from Scotland. And I just loved her. We just had such a good time. And we each had our one breast removed. And then she did a radiation. I didn't have to. And then we part of being in the support group is you're there with the cancer experience. And when it's done, you're supposed to move away because new people come in. And, it's, what could we talk about? I feel healed, and they're going, whoa, I don't know what's happening. So after a while, you move out of the support group. And then a few weeks later, my friend called me, and she said, my cancer has returned. And Margot, I want you to do my funeral or my life happiness ceremony when I go. And I gulped, and I said, okay, I'll do it. So we thought it'd be about a year. And 6 weeks later, she made her transition. And it was, pretty quick and pretty severe. But we had a wonderful celebration. All the people that I'd known in our different support groups came back, and we all hugged each other. And about 2 weeks later, I'm driving to Smart and Final, and I'm missing her. We had a lot of good times together. I took her to the one appointment was like 5 in the morning because it was Navy Hospital and I could hardly see, but I got her there. And so I said to her, Vera, I miss you. I miss your voice. I miss your enthusiasm for life. And then I went into Smart and Final and forgot about it and got my groceries and got in one line. And for no reason that I can think of, I changed lines. Then I go up to the cashier, and she starts speaking to me in the Scottish brogue. And I cried, and she, what's wrong, what's wrong? I told her, and she cried. And I know Vera was crying, that she could touch me with that brogue. She could touch me with the love that is always present. Just because the body goes, the love is there. And that touched me so deeply that to know that love is the communicator. Love is the power. Love is the divine in each of us. So I'm going to leave you with some things that I want to say just about spiritualism. When you have someone make their transition, please don't freeze them. So, if they had a car wreck and you know that maybe their body got burned or something, don't freeze them there. If the last words that your grandmother said was, honey, you're getting a little plump, don't freeze her there. Let us know that we are each spiritual beings having human experiences. And let us know that when you have some communication with someone on the other side, I recommend a few things. Forgiveness, you forgive, and accept forgiveness. I recommend a gratitude. Gratitude for all that you shared while you were both on this earth plane. You don't freeze them, and you realize that love has touched you. Love has made itself known. The kind of love that God has by creating the oceans and the mountains, that love has touched you and always will. Always will. So in religious science we say, universe conspires for our good. Conspires for our good. So I see each of you as a conspirator for good, for love, for joy. Many blessings. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was yummy. This day I awoke with a passion in my heart, a feeling of longing, a thirst so strong. I want to be better, an opening for God to make me stronger. My bread today is for courage to be what the Holy Spirit intends for me. I want to be better, an opening for God to make me stronger. Make me patient when I worry. Make me calm when there is strife. Make me loving when my heart is hard. Make me forgiving when I would be right. Make me forgiving. My bread today is for courage to be where the Holy Spirit intends for me. I want to be better, an opening for God to make me stronger. Stronger to reveal more peace. I must be patient to reveal more love. I must be humble to reveal more power. Make me strong, yeah, to more peace, more love, more joy, more joy. This is my prayer today. Oh,
Back again. And this time I'm going to share with you about conscious giving. And I like doing it. It goes right out of my checkbook, out of the bank account. And then when I look at my bank account to reconcile it, which I do, I feel good. I see that amount that going out to this place, and it reminds me how connected I am. It reminds me I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So I ask us each to know how we can give, because giving is natural to us, in my opinion, and how we can give. A smile, some money, maybe help with the chairs, however because this is our home. Ours. Wherever we go, we create ours. As we are changing our lives, changing our words and stuff, and changing our lives. As we give, this is changing the lives of many people. So please take your offering, put it on your heart, and feel gratitude. And in giving, please say with me, in giving, I receive. And I receive, I give. Feel the blessings of the divine. And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so so grateful. I am so blessed. Join me. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. It is now our announcements.
I'll just say again, happy birthday, Margot. Yes.
Good morning. I'm Bob Mosa. I have some of your announcements for today. Foundations for Spiritual Living class. This class begins September 7th with Reverend Kevin. It's the introductory class to our philosophy, and it is required for membership at the center. See the Yes table or the Classes tab on our website. And if you've already taken Foundations, then there's another class that Reverend Sherry is teaching. It's called Power of Your Word, and this begins September 7th. It'll be 8 Thursdays. See Reverend Sherry at the table and outside. Awakening Wednesday, August 24th, 6:30. Love and respect. Let it reflect in all our relationships. Join Gino in person and online. Racial Equality Project, call to action. Join our community as we break bread together at a neighborhood Ethiopian restaurant August 28th after our second gathering. Great food and stimulating conversations will be present. Sign up at the Yes table. Our social justice committee is called Spirit in Action. Each month we prepare meals for residents downtown at PATH, which is People Assisting the Homeless. So your next opportunity to volunteer is Tuesday, August 23rd at 5 o'clock. Use the QR code or sign up at the Yes table. Our history. Traffickers bring first enslaved Africans to Jamestown, Virginia. On this day, August 20th, 1619, traffickers brought the first enslaved Africans to a Virginia colony on the James River. They sold some of these people there in exchange for food and brought the remaining Africans to Jamestown, where they sold them to white enslavers. To overcome racial inequality, we must confront our history. We all are part of history. And speaking of yardsticks, did you hear about the company that is going out of business? No. They're not going to make them any longer.
You know, my experience is not complete unless I've heard a Bob dad joke. So I feel complete with our experience this morning. So let's all take a breath and just feel the gratitude of having had this experience, this time together to be in community, to remember the truth of who we are and who everyone else is too, to remember that God is all there is, everywhere present, to feel the infinite expression that comes through us and comes through Margot as she shared her story. So I know that we carry that wisdom, we carry that truth, we carry that trust in the universal conspiracy for our good as we move out into our day and our week. So I say thank you, Infinite Spirit. I know it is so, and so it is. So it is.
Thank you, Reverend Sarah. As we get ready to sing out, this door is open. No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place that you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come loved and be loved. Whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Well, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. Have a beautiful Sunday, everybody. Thank you for being here. Whoop, whoop, Marco, thank you again. And for those of you out there online, don't forget to like us on YouTube, subscribe, hit that little bell, and like us on Facebook and Twitter. Love and blessings.
And I want to invite you all, if you want to come back at 1, we're having an amazing psychic fair with all sorts of goodies and experiences, from mediumship to tarot card readings to all sorts of table wobbling and all the different ways.
Table tipping.
Table tipping. with waffles and chips, you know. Something is moving through. That's all I know. So come back at 1.
We look forward to seeing you. That's our psychic fair. Bring a friend. It's open to the family. Come on. Bring everyone back. We'll transform this room. It will be a wonderful opportunity to experience totally what Margot was talking about this morning, to have your own experience with it. So we'll see you back here at 1 o'clock today. If there's some kind of trouble, pain you're going through, know that you are not alone. Someone cares for you. Has an individualization, divine point of view. This door is open. This door is open. This door is open. These doors are open. This door is open. This door is open. This door is open for you. We'll see you at 1 o'clock.